Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world, returning from Paris, returning from America, returning from London, UK, and Turkey, I left that out, is Adefemi Akinsanya. Good morning. And welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I missed you all so much. I do too.
So good to see you. Welcome
Goodness
back.
gracious. I haven't missed Nigeria as much as I missed Nigeria this time. I'm so happy to be back and see you all. But yeah, we put a few miles on the passport already in 2025.
Yeah. Moi moi.
Don't worry. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to bring Christmas moi moi for you.
Yes.
I failed you. I'm so sorry.
Good.
We have to rectify that.
Yes.
Good morning to you all. There's a lot going on around the world. I'm sure you've noticed. Yeah. Trump has started again. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Two-Face 2 almost knocked me off my seat yesterday. So there's a lot to get through. I won't be talking about Two-Face though, unfortunately. Let me tell you about what's happening around the world. Now, today marks the first week of President Donald Trump's second term in office, and it kicks off with the United States going head-to-head with Colombia. Now, there has been an update in the story so far, but let me just take you through what has happened. Now, Trump had said that he would impose 25% tariffs and sanctions on Colombia after its president barred 2 U.S. military planes carrying deported migrants from landing in the country. Now, Petro, the president of Colombia, said he had denied entry to U.S. military deportation flights, clarifying that he would receive fellow citizens on civilian planes without treating them like criminals, adding that migrants must be returned with dignity and respect. Now, here's what Trump wrote on Truth Social about the matter. Firstly, he says, well, I was just informed that 2 repatriation flights from the United States with a large number of illegal criminals were not allowed to land in Colombia. This order was given by Colombia's socialist president, Gustavo Petro, who is already very unpopular amongst his people. Petro's denial of those flights has jeopardized the national security and public safety of the United States. So I have directed my administration to immediately take the following urgent and decisive retaliatory measures. Emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States in 1 week. The 25% tariffs will be raised to 50%. A travel ban and immediate visa revocations on the Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. Visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. And then he goes on to say, enhanced customs and border protection inspections of all Colombian nationals and cargo on national security grounds, i.e. EPA, Treasury, banking and financial sanctions to be fully imposed. Now, these measures are just the beginning, Trump said. We will not allow the Colombian government to violate its legal obligations with regards to the acceptance and return of the criminals they forced into the United States. Now, there has been an update. President Donald Trump says that he has not already imposed this 25% ban, but we will keep our eyes and ears on this situation. Now, in response to that very lengthy message from the US President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro responded by saying that he too would impose 50% tariffs on the United States. Meanwhile, the US President says that he wants Egypt and Jordan to take in Palestinians from Gaza. Trump said he made the request to Jordan's king, Abdullah, and planned to ask Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Sunday to do the same. Now, Donald Trump's proposal that large numbers of Palestinians should leave Gaza to, quote, just clean out the whole strip has been rejected by US allies in the region and attacked as dangerous, illegal, and unworkable by lawyers and activists. Now, the US president said that he would like hundreds of thousands of people to move to neighboring countries, either temporarily or could be long-term, he says. Now, destinations could include Jordan, which already hosts more than 2.7 million Palestinian refugees, and Egypt. Now, both Hamas and the Palestinian Authority have condemned the proposal. Jordan and Egypt have also rejected the idea. I mean, can you imagine, after decades of war, Palestinians would just leave? And what does Trump believe that Israel would do in such a situation? I mean, goodness gracious. Finally, South Korea's prosecutors indicted the impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol on Sunday on charges of leading an insurrection with his short-lived imposition of martial law on the 3rd of December, the main opposition party have told us. Now, the charges are unprecedented for a South Korean president, and if convicted, Yoon could face years in prison for his shock martial law decree, which sought to ban political and parliamentary activity and control the media.
Emperor Trump. Anyway, this is the beginning of right-wing nationalism in the world, and it just shows that Trump is directly going the way of Hitler. Nothing has changed. We are not saying, please do not remove illegal immigrants, but treat them with dignity. it was not only to Colombia that the flights were rejected, also to Brazil, and even some other countries pointed the fact that they were handcuffed. And you hear his words, calling people criminals. Because they're illegal immigrant doesn't make them criminals.
Correct.
And that's why Petro also summoned the spirit of Simeon Bolivar and said, we'll not kowtow to you. But in the end, they had an agreement around it. But it shows the kind of game Trump wants to play. And that's why Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was a big adult in the room at World Economic Forums in Davos. Because these guys, Trump and his gobbles, Elon Musk, they want to set the world on fire. And we've seen it. Look at what he said in Gaza. He said, clear them. Ethnic cleansing. That's what he's saying. Just clear them. People that historically have rights over a land. And I'm more disappointed in Netanyahu and Israel. The same Israel that the world fought for in the Nuremberg trials. When Auschwitz happened. And it's sad that it's at the time we're celebrating the 80th anniversary of Auschwitz that this is happening.
Yeah.
The same Israel the world fought for are the ones now meting out the same barbarity of Hitler proportion on the Palestinians.
It's terrible. Thank you.
So you can see how the world pans out. And I'm talking about his gobbles, Elon Musk, that went to the Alternative for Deutschland party rally and told them, do not feel guilty about the sins of your father. Do not feel guilty about the sins of Hitler and Nazism.
Somebody who was condemned for raising his arm.
Somebody that was raising up his hands. Yes. And that's why I told the world that Anti-Defamation League was probably doing that because they were afraid of lawsuits. That's why they said they supported that he didn't do. But experts have come out to say he actually did a Nazi salute.
Agreed.
You can see where the world is going.
We can. Thank you.
Very scary, really and truly. One of the first things I thought about with regards to his recent policy speeches, moves, that's President Donald Trump, is that this is sounding like an emperor. It almost seems as if you look at what his decision with regards to Colombia, some of the other countries, and then with Gaza Strip is just sitting with the chessboard and just moving things around and hoping that everybody will follow, irrespective of how workable it is or whether it infringes on human rights or what the country's policy is on. All he's interested in doing is to play to the gallery in terms of his support base and do what. And a lot of people have criticized many of his moves, that they are just a big show and a lot of them are not workable. So a big one would be the Gaza Strip. That you cannot, I mean, this is something that's been going on for years. And with one stroke of the pen or one word, a decision, without even informing the Egyptian president, who very likely is going to reject this deal, saying that, oh, you're going to move them to, these are human lives they're talking about. And it's the same way that he's spoken very offhandedly about human beings, even though they are illegals. Let me just say it pointedly. Unlawful or illegal aliens or illegal migrants are not criminals. And I think I'm very, and I salute the Colombian president for saying he's going to stand by his people, that they ought to be treated fairly and with dignity. Right. What he had resisted was that they were going to be brought on a military airplane, and so they would be viewed as, it would
like
be
prisoners of
war, and he said, bring them on a civilian plane. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a president negotiating. And the first thing, and the next thing that Trump does is, tariffs that are not commensurate to what has happened. Correct. What would it cost the American people to do things the right way? America has always been known to be, the country where human rights is upheld, fairness, equity, justice is the order of the day. And so to not roll back these ethos because the president wants to exert his power and control or influence over nations of the world, I think he has to tread really carefully. And it's the next, what's on the lips of a lot of people is like, what is Trump going to do next?
Only one weekend.
A number of key points. What Trump has done, for now, is to send a signal to both allies and adversaries alike that, look, if you don't listen to the United States, you will face severe consequences. And he had an opportunity to demonstrate that with a face-off with President Gustavo Petro of Colombia over the weekend. Now, other countries have already been put on red alert. You don't listen to the United States, you will face the consequences of the America First policy that Trump campaigned with and announced to the whole world, even in Davos, and is now giving effect to. On Friday, a military aircraft from the United States repatriated 170 so-called illegal migrants back to Guatemala. Guatemala did not complain. The same Friday, aircraft were sent to Mexico, repatriating people. Now, Mexico said it rejected them. The White House yesterday said, no, Mexico did not reject. Mexico, in fact, received 4 military aircraft bringing illegal migrants from their country. 3, Brazil. The ones that were sent to Brazil were handcuffed, and they arrived there. Now, over the weekend, Colombia, Gustavo Petro, said no. Okay, you have already given us the details about trade war.
Yes.
That, again, is the indication of the kind of retaliatory war, politics of reciprocity in international trade that is likely to happen. But by yesterday evening, the same White House issued a statement saying that President Gustavo Petro has agreed to all the conditions given by President Trump, and that the documents to impose tariffs, to revoke visas, to ban government officials had not been signed. But if Colombia should misbehave, that will be signed. You know, so this is where we are. Yes. And the foreign minister of Colombia also admitted that, well, the impasse has ended. So, you know, Trump controlling the whole of that Southern America range. That is the reality. He has started with illegal migration and those he called Colombia criminals. That was Petro's main point, that you cannot call Colombians criminals. We are not criminals, we are people. As for Gaza, now, yes, I see the point about ethnic cleansing, but Egypt has rejected, Jordan has rejected, the Palestinian people have said nobody is going to take them out of here. Trump may say it's a mess, Trump may say Gaza Strip is a demolition site, but that is their land and the land of their ancestors. And that the only way they will be taken out of the Gaza Strip is as corpses. So the people are defiant. Because this is what happened after this 1967 Six-Day War. Yes. And this is what Israel is doing in the West Bank. Now they want to do the same thing in Gaza. And they have the support of Donald Trump. Yeah. The right wing, led by the former defense minister, that's what they want. Agreed. They want to take over the whole of Gaza. 2.1 million. Already 2.7 million people from Gaza are refugees, yes. Palestinian refugees in Jordan. Now they want to increase the number. In fact, Trump is saying we will build places for them where they can live, either temporarily or permanently. In other words, he wants them out of there. Finally, South Korea. Now, the President Yoon is being charged for insurrection. Insurrection carries the penalty of death or life imprisonment. Death is not likely because they've not done that. But the Constitutional Court is also sitting to determine whether he should be dismissed or whether he should be reinstated. If he's dismissed, there will be a presidential election in that country, South Korea, within 60 days. Yes. That's what the law says.
Thank you very much for all of your great analysis. Gosh, I've missed you all so much. Let's move on to some newspapers across the world. We begin, of course, with This Day. And This Day has former President Muhammadu Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan hailing this day as a national monument, an institution, and a leading voice in Nigerian journalism, respectively. Now, Motown legend, you remember I hinted this to you before, Diana Ross, has arrived in Lagos. She will be performing at This Day Awards, which takes place tonight. We're looking forward to that. Staying with This Day as well, Daily Trust too, they take on this story about the Nigerian military saying that it has lost 22 soldiers and killed 70 terrorists in a deadly clash in Borno State. The Nigerian military has also asked media not to publish the names of the fallen soldiers before they have an opportunity to inform their families. We do send our condolences out to our heroes. And moving on to the New Telegraph, and it leads with Nigeria's mounting debt profile hampering economic stability. Now, Nigeria's total public debt rose to 142.3 trillion naira as of September 30, 2024, representing an increase of 5.97% compared to 134.3 trillion naira in June 2024. Now, the debt, comprising external and domestic obligations, reflects the significant impact of exchange rate depreciation on external borrowing when converted into naira terms. Now, on to recapitalization, and The Guardian leads with 7 banks raising 1.3 trillion naira to meet the central bank's recapitalization requirements. Now, the remaining 17 banks banks may be unable to reach that level. The current capital base is stratified based on the type of banking license these banks have. So banks with regional, national, and international licenses are currently expected to maintain a minimum capital base of 10 billion naira, 25 billion naira, and 50 billion naira, respectively. To the Vanguard this morning, and it leads with forex spending on foreign education, on health, defying the naira depreciation, which has risen by 26% to $2.3 billion in 9 months. And the Daily Independent leads with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group calling on the federal government to prioritize inflation and weak purchasing power. To the United Kingdom, and today marks, as you mentioned, Rufai, the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, the infamous concentration camp during the Holocaust. The front page of the Daily Express has 94-year-old survivor Susan Polak pictured as a 94-year-old and also as a child, younger. And then we have, finally, the Metro leading with 8,000 social media accounts and websites have been taken down to disconnect smugglers in a heightened effort to stop the boats from crossing the English Channel, which is often a deadly journey.
I would like to talk about Auschwitz because all of the events that led to Auschwitz, with Hitler coming in on a very strong wave of nationalism, and the nationalism started because a lot of Germans felt undone by the agreements they had to sign after the First World War that didn't really favor Germany. We all remember how Germany had to lose Alsace-Lorraine and a couple of other parts like that. I mean, Maynard Keynes did write extensively about it.
Agreed.
The truth has to be said. I read a very damning report recently about Auschwitz, where when the Germans invaded Auschwitz, it was said that they were killing about 200 people per day in Poland, and the high command in Germany said that's not good enough, that they should kill more people per day before they finally lumped these people up, the Jewish people, and they took them to Auschwitz in this concentration camp. And you know where all of this idea started from? It started from a book called Mein Kampf, written by Adolf Hitler, which was sort of like a national book in Germany at that point in time, and that's why media matters a great deal. But it is shocking that 80 years after, the world is moving towards another Auschwitz with these right-wing nationalists.
We definitely hope not.
All right, unfortunately, we're out of time. We cannot take any more comments, but thank you very much, Adefemi, for your time with us.